We have a special guest with us. It's you know who it is. It's Lee Camp. Now, Lee Camp is, of course, the host of the Lee Camp, his show Redacted Tonight on RT, but he's also a former contributor to The Onion, former staff humor writer for the Huffington Post. And so there you go. So he's with us right now. Hey, Lee, how are you?
What's up, Jimmy? Hey, Steph. How you guys doing?
So Lee and I have been, since we tell the truth about war, we get very we make the establishment nervous. So then they sick their attack dogs on us, and they smear us in the establishment press, like Lee has been smeared, and New York Times and Washington Post and myself and CNN. Now what's worse is that they're trying to they're demonetizing our videos, right? So whenever we talk about war or tell the truth about it. And I got this the other day. Someone was trying to advertise on Facebook. You know, when you're on Facebook, you could say where you want your ad to be targeted. And they got this message back from Facebook saying, well, here it is. I'll show it to you. Wait, here it is. It says, review your detailed targeting. Your saved audience contains interest, behaviors, or demographics that are being discontinued. What the fuck? So the demographic that is being discontinued is Jimmy Dore show followers and Lee Camp show followers, but we're going to get to that. Edit this saved audience to review the changes and to update it. You'll find suggested alternatives for some flagged options when you hover over them. You'll need to replace or remove the flagged options and publish the changes to ensure your ad set continues to run on January 14th, 2020. So they're saying that this is all kicking in on January 20th or January 14th, 2020. And look who the people that Chris Hedges, Cornel West, and then Jimmy Dore and Lee Camp. We're the only two that are flagged. So Chris Hedges isn't flagged. Cornel West is not flagged. But you are flagged, and I am flagged. And that means, I guess what they mean is that this content, you're not allowed to advertise to those people who follow us. Right, Lee?
Yeah, it's a whole new step in the ongoing censorship, but this one's interesting because it is so pinpointed towards followers of you and me. And basically, I know that probably most people watching this don't advertise on Facebook, but the idea is that, like, this is how people let fans of certain comedians or whatever know about shows and things like that. And you can advertise directly to the fans of Jimmy Dore, the fans of Lee Camp. And this is not flagging it just for me and you when we're using Facebook. This is for anyone in the world who wants fans of Jimmy Dore or Lee Camp to know about something, to see a show, to boost a post, maybe an anti-military industrial complex post. All of that can't be done towards our fans specifically.
So that's remarkable. And so we had on a person who was hired when I was at the Young Turks. Young Turks hired an outside agency to run their Facebook posts for them and stuff. And we have brought in the young man who was in charge of my show, Aggressive Progressives, and he would talk about how every time he posted a video, he would have to spend an hour on the phone talking to someone from YouTube just to convince them who he was. They had to get his home phone number, all this stuff, just to be vetted to ever. Anyway, so they've already. So why do you think they target us, Lee? I think it's because we're anti-war. And Facebook takes their orders from the Atlantic Council, which is very pro-war neocon organization. What do you say?
Yeah, I think, anti-war, our criticisms of a lot of massive corporations that are hugely powerful. I think that's a large one. These type of things can't be criticized in the mainstream media. And we've seen the censorship go on many different levels. I believe I've talked on your show before about how I've been capped at 335,000 Facebook followers for over like 2 years now. They will not allow me to get more than that. They never said anything. It just is clear that I was gaining 5,000 followers a week, and then it just stopped. And so I've been capped at that amount for a long time now. But this is kind of a new step because it's against anyone else. It's not even against, I mean, it is against you and me, but it's also everyone else. So, you know, you and I got contacted by Nick Branna, who runs Movement for a People's Party, and they want to let people know about their Movement for a People's Party, and they can't do it to fans of yours and mine on Facebook. And so this is, you know, this ongoing level of slow, you know, drip, drip, drip of censorship. And I think it's to dilute the anger about it. Even that point that says that it's not till January, which I think it's probably already happening. They just say that. But it's not till January. I think even that is designed to dilute our anger so that this censorship slowly kind of infects our life and people don't get furious all at once.
I think, like, I can understand them restricting my ability to advertise or your ability to advertise, but now they're restricting information that people who follow us can see. That seems to be a next level of censorship. Like, I could get you can censor individuals or organizations you consider to be nefarious or something. I don't know. But now anybody, so I don't know how, I don't even, you know, I don't go on Facebook because it makes me feel bad when I do. So I don't even know how many followers I have on Facebook. I really don't, honestly to God, don't know how many. Can you look how many followers we have at the Jimmy Dore Show? So now they're restricting information that tens of thousands of people who follow me can see. Not just that I can't send it to them, but someone else can't show these tens of thousands of people some kind of information. Now, and so this every day, it seems like now, like you said, this slow drip of censorship, it seems like there's a new way to censor every day. They come up with this new, they're censoring this. Oh, because you're this, we're going to censor. Because you're that, we're going to censor. And now they're just, and they'll give a reason why they're censoring information being sent to our followers. They just say, hey, these people have been flagged. And don't you think that's like so we're like the frogs in the pot, and nobody seems to notice that the water is rising. I mean, the temperature in the pot is rising. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and this one's particularly hilarious because this is an interest group. This is not like this is a detail about people. It'd be like censoring, you know, you can't advertise to anyone in Minnesota. Like it's not saying a particular post was offensive, which you can argue about that. You know, Facebook does that all the time, stop showing certain posts to people. But at least you can have a debate as to that's not offensive. I was talking about how we need to end war. But this is not even a specific kind of post or anything. It's just saying we're getting rid of these interest groups. I mean, it honestly is it's so Orwellian. It's just incredible. And I think part of it is to interrupt the way you and I operate with our shows. And, you know, that's the same with demonetizing a lot of videos and, you know, just making sure those videos aren't recommended to people when they're watching other videos. It's to me, it seems like an increasing effort to make sure that kind of you and I just can't have careers.
They're doing their best to try to make that happen. You're right. You're correct. They're trying to hinder us. They're trying to hinder our revenue streams. They're trying to hinder our reputation, which then makes it less likely for us to be able to generate revenue. They're doing a lot. And again, I'm just a jagoff in my garage, and that just shows you how fragile the establishment is and how much a little bit of truth can actually take them down. That's all. Look what they're doing to Tulsi Gabbard. They won't even allow her on the, you know, all these other polls, 23 polls says she's polling at 3-4%. They're going to pick the polls that show her not poll. A Monmouth poll, which they surveyed 280 people or some low number like that with the 5% margin of error. So anyway, the little bit of truth, that's what they're most afraid of. Just like all, you know, we live in a surveillance state right now. And so just like all, you know, authoritarian governments, which is what we're living in, whether you want to believe it or not, we don't have habeas corpus anymore. They took that away. We live in a surveillance state. And this is what the thing is that is the most dangerous to them is the truth, which is why they're doing what they're doing to Julian Assange, what they're doing to Chelsea Manning, and now stuff like this. And this comes right from the state, by the way. This isn't Facebook making up their minds by themselves. This is the government through the Atlantic Council telling Facebook what to do, and Facebook goes right along with it because they're just another arm of the censorship that is government. They don't want to be regulated, so they'll do right now whatever government tells them, and government tells them. So the censorship, like we predicted, isn't coming directly from the government, but it's coming from the corporation that's taking their orders from the government, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're connected to the Atlantic Council, and these webs are vast and interconnected, and and I think the same is true for those attack pieces you mentioned at the beginning of the segment. I don't think that the cover of the arts section in the New York Times was like, we just really want to cover Lee Camp, and oops, it ended up being entirely negative. Or NPR's Weekend Edition was just like, we really have to do a segment on redacted. And I think that there has to be some sort of recommendation to make sure that those segments are done, and then that those are at the top of the Google search. So anyone who types in my name, the first 4 things they're going to get are, an NPR hit piece, a New York Times hit piece, and a Washington Post hit piece. So these add up. And I think those have to come from somewhere else. To me, the idea that the critic at the New York Times gave a flying shit about my show until he was maybe told to cover it is to me that would be shocking. Sorry to degrade myself like that, but I think it's unlikely that he came up with that idea on his own.
So you think? So people will tell us that we're crazy when we say this, that people are ordered to write articles. And so I guess all those people at the Washington Post, Lee, when they say that working for the world's richest man has no effect over them, I guess when they go on to write 16 negative Bernie stories in 16 hours, I guess that's just because they've all internalized Jeff Bezos' worldview accidentally.
Yeah, it's actually a blood transfusion. It's in their veins now. These marching orders have to come from somewhere, and I don't know that someone's ordered to do something, but I think they get a little wink and a nudge. And guess what? You're going to please the boss if you write this type of story. And the idea that Bezos owning the Washington Post has no impact is so laughable. Yeah, and Adelson bought the biggest paper in Las Vegas just for good times, just because he enjoyed reading it.
Yeah. So, again, the water is getting hotter and hotter in the pot, and none of the frogs seem to notice except me. And, I sent this around to my friends in powerful alternative media places, and it was meant with a snooze. Nothing. No one.
Well, I think that has to do with when times are getting so rough. People get exhausted of shock, so they act like it's not a big deal. But that's how it's designed to be, a kind of slow increase of surveillance, a slow increase of censorship, and people lose their ability to be shocked anymore. So, I think that is by design. That is how you manipulate people. You don't do it all at once. You don't do it. There's a reason they haven't just banned your and my Facebook pages, because the outrage would be too large. So, what do? Well, we cap them at a certain number. We slowly make it so they can't advertise or promote anymore. And it's, you just slowly wipe it away rather than some mass purge, which, they've tried some of those and some of them have been successful, but it does tend to create a lot more anger when it's done that way.
Right. And what we have my Ruby tells me we have 38,000 followers on Facebook, right? Okay, so I was right when I said tens of thousands at least. But Lee, you have hundreds of thousands, right? Followers on Facebook?
Well, I spent much of my youth working on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Up to like 2 years ago, I would spend a lot of time posting and making sure it was growing. So I have 330 some thousand. But like I said, they've had me capped at that since basically right after the last election. And they just slowly wipe people away. I have people tell me all the time that they thought they were following my Facebook page and it keeps unsubscribing them. So same as I'm sure you get those complaints about YouTube. I get those all the time about YouTube as well. So
Yeah, I get them about YouTube. Again, I don't go on Facebook. I can't stand that thing. So I really can't. And somehow I've been able to get by my life without really putting efforts into Facebook. Really, only 38,000? I'm embarrassed. That's such a low number, especially in front of a guy like Lee Camp. I'm very embarrassed right now. So isn't there different, like there's subscribers and followers? Aren't they different? Oh, okay. I'm still trying to find a higher number, Lee. Anyway.
Jimmy, you're destroying me on YouTube, so you can relax.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're right. That's right. I am destroying you on YouTube. Well, I want to remind people now, Lee, you're coming out to Los Angeles. You're going to be here on the September 13th in Los Angeles at the Sycamore Tavern, and on 15th you're going to be in Ventura at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, right?
That is right. Yeah, it should be a really cool time, and people can. There's only a few tickets left to the Los Angeles one, and that's at leecamp.com. They can click schedule, get all the details, and we'll have special guests. Graham Elwood is opening the Ventura show, and Eleanor Goldfield's opening the L.A. show, and hopefully some other special guests. But yeah. A couple of tickets left. leecamp.com.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you are gonna have some special guests. That's what I understand.
I'm very excited.
All right, Lee. Well,
does he have a show upcoming in Baltimore?
Is there yeah, well, we'll be seeing you. That show sold out, right? So we'll be seeing you in Baltimore when I come out to Baltimore.
That's right. Yeah, I'll be with you on the stage in Baltimore. We're gonna go for another 2 million click video or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh, last time Lee was on our show, he was part of the Barry Weiss 2.7 million view video, which was nice. Right? Yeah, that was fun. Now, so
I'm gonna take full credit.
So now Lee, there's nothing. What can we do to help? I mean, again, I don't think we can raise consciousness about this. People don't give a shit anymore, I don't think.
Well, I think the goal for all activists needs to be to build up ulterior platforms while not abandoning the tools we have. So I'm not telling people to abandon Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, but we got to build up the other ones that are open sourced and uncensored, and you know, it takes a while and it's not fun and it's not glamorous, but I think that's where a lot of the work needs to be. And the other thing I keep telling people is just to, you know, sign up for my email list at my website, because email is a little harder to censor. It's a little easier to keep track of people. And but this is only going to get worse. So people shouldn't just throw up their hands and walk the other way. I think the fight must continue. You got to, what's the Zen saying? You got to be like water. You got to go around the obstacles.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody, check out Lee Camp at leecamp.com. Of course, his great show, Redacted, tonight. Check out his latest special, which is hilarious. I saw it live. I was busting a gut. Everybody, check out everything Lee Camp does at leecamp.com. Lee, we'll see you on September 13th in L.A. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks. See you there.
Okay. Hey, our next live Jimmy Dore show is in Seattle, September 16th. That's a Monday. Plus, every Sunday in October, we're doing a live Jimmy Dore show at the Sycamore Tavern in Hollywood, California. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for a link for all tickets and become a premium member. We give you hours of bonus material. Thanks for your support.